The episode begins with Scott Duvall's perspective on the destruction of Chicago when Invincible fought Omni-Man. After losing his sister and niece, Duvall seeks out justice by approaching District Attorney Barnett and presenting the petition he and his wife did, requesting an investigation into the incident. Barnett explains that Invincible was merely defending the planet from an alien threat who happens to be his father. Duvall questions his intentions and asks to let a jury decide if he claims to be innocent. Barnett brushes him off, but not before claiming their laws don't apply to similar situations. He later secures a job at the Global Defense Agency as one of their researchers, still upset over the Invincible incident. Later, Duvall takes matters into his own hands and confronts Invincible as Powerplex. His wife, Becky, supports his decision and hooks up a disc that lets him store enough power to hurt and even kill Invincible. Although these discs will help him get his revenge, they are irreversible, and he claims that they've tried everything else, and nothing works. After attaching all the discs, Becky starts hammering at him until he has enough energy stored in them that he fires off electricity with his hands. You'd think he'd be happy with successfully weaponizing his powers. Still, he breaks down in tears, realizing there's no turning back. Meanwhile, Elephant goes on a rampage at a burger shop, furious at the people eating meat. Oliver sneaks up and punches him against a car. Invincible reminds Oliver to be wary of his surroundings and ensure that civilians are not caught in their fighting. Eve tells Oliver not to destroy the store, or they won't have any burgers after the battle. Later, Oliver asks Mark if the people would ever forgive their father, but Mark claims that despite the lives he saved, it doesn't cancel out all the ones that he killed. Mark explains that Nolan was two different people. One was the dad they knew when they were kids, but the other was a Viltrumite with a mission to do, even if it meant hurting many people. At dinner, Oliver was gloating about how Mark showed him the basics of fighting when he learned them early. Debbie compliments Eve for doing well with her studies now that Mark has dropped off from school. Paul, dating Debbie and a family friend, asks Mark about the business they started. Mark explains that he and Eve have become retainers at Peyton Penitentiary to handle any breakouts or incoming attacks at the facility. He claims their last job there must have convinced others to avoid it. Paul claims that the same remains true in real estate, where he had to convince everyone in the neighborhood to only sell them to him, proving that reputation is essential. Later, Paul worries he doesn't fit in their lives and cannot relate with her superhero kids, but Debbie reassures him that he just needs to be there for them. Later, Mark and Eve go bowling with William and Rick for William's birthday. When William is kicking their butt in bowling, Amber and his boyfriend Kyle join them. When they thought it'd be awkward, Mark and Kyle bond over a shared interest in Seance Dog. Suddenly, they see the news about Powerplex on a rampage downtown, demanding to confront Invincible. Mark turns off the TV, claiming that he can have a night off and that other heroes are around to handle it. Shapesmith arrives on the scene, but Powerplex insists on dealing with Invincible alone. Shapesmith recklessly charges and keeps punching him, forcing Powerplex to defend himself. Little did he know that his punches only charged the discs he had on him. When he has enough energy stored, Powerplex then sends him flying with a powerful electrical wave. Worried about what he has done, Powerplex returns home after severely injuring Shapesmith. When Duvall thinks it was all for nothing, Becky claims he will have to attack the memorial tomorrow, where Invincible will indeed show up. His heightened emotions caused power to surge in the house, which scared off his son, Jack. Meanwhile, Rudy works on a belt that helps with Amanda's curse, which causes her to de-age every time she transforms. He explains that it's an advanced genomic engine miniaturized, hardened, and built around a fusion battery core. After successfully stopping her de-aging, Amanda embraces Rudy, grateful to him for helping her with her curse. Seeing Rudy and Amanda embrace each other, Ray goes to see love interest Rex. Rex was surprised to see her and wondered if she, too, felt the same feelings he had when they had dinner the other night. Ray confirms she did, but informs him that she is quitting the team, which shocked him. When Rex makes a big deal about it, she claims that he has always joked about quitting and buying a farm or getting a job somewhere where people aren't trying to kill him every day. Rex argues that he was joking, but Ray insists that their work always takes them into situations where they constantly risk their lives for others. Rex got shot in the head, and Ray almost got eaten by a giant lizard that tried to attack her. Rex reveals that his last name used to be Sloan, but was changed by the government when they bought him from his parents and turned him into what he is now. He explains that Rex Splode is not some secret identity, but the only one he has. He worries that giving it up would leave him with nothing left. Despite their differences, Ray claims that she's still leaving the team, which Rex understands, and the two kiss on the roof. At the memorial, while the families of victims mourn their losses, Powerplex hijacks the event, demanding a confrontation with Invincible. When Mark asks the others to escape, Eve claims she'll handle the situation. Debbie agrees with her, arguing that the assailant is disturbed and that showing up will only worsen the situation. Although Powerplex continues to destroy the barrier she forms, Eve claims that she already realized hitting him would only make him stronger. Powerplex tries to force his way in with power, but Eve skillfully restrains both hands long enough for the other heroes to arrive. Immortal, Darkwing, and Shapesmith arrive to assist and apprehend Powerplex. Powerplex accidentally charged his disc while transporting it when they hit a bump on the road. He then starts banging his back against the wall, but when the guards try to stop him, they are too late. He has charged up enough energy, which he uses to send the van to skid and crash. Powerplex then breaks free from his restraints and escapes. He returns home to his wife and child and worries that GDA will soon come to capture him, having realized who he is. Becky refuses to leave him and claims that there must be another way. Back at the memorial, reality sinks in when Mark sees all the victims' names on the epitaph. He explains that he had never really thought of the victims, but now that he has had the chance to see it all in person, he feels guilty about the people who got caught in their fight. He claims that Cecil has sheltered him from all of these, which Eve states must be one of the advantages of working for the GDA. Mark realizes that they need to see these things and understand the consequences of what they do. That night, Mark asks Donald for information on Powerplex, who, until a few hours ago, was a researcher at one of their labs. Donald explains it was how Duvall got his hands on an experimental storage technology that he used to enhance his low-level energy absorption superpower. He states that Duvall has been tracking him for months, which Mark suspects must be who sent those orbs at him. But Donald claims those aren't his. Donald explains that Cecil was telling the truth when he said that those weren't GDA technology. When Mark wanted to see Duvall, Donald explained that he had escaped when they had transported him to Peyton Penitentiary. Donald reassures him that they will soon get him into custody when they suddenly receive a ransom video calling Invincible out and turning his wife and son into hostages. Invincible goes out to meet Powerplex, where he supposedly has hostages. He explains how he knows about his identity and how his sister and niece died in the exact location where they are now. He sincerely apologizes for his loss, but Powerplex rejects his apology and attacks Invincible. Invincible claims he knows how his powers work and refuses to fight him. Worried for the hostages, Invincible kicks Powerplex away and tries to free them, but Becky spits on him in disgust. With Invincible confused, Powerplex sneaks up from behind and sends a powerful jolt to attack his head. Little did he notice that he was discharging so much electricity that his wife and son got burnt to a crisp. In a fit of rage, Powerplex channels his anger at Invincible, who slowly advances and embraces him until he burns up all that energy instead of fighting back. Mark takes Powerplex back to GDA to be treated, but Donald explains that they are unable to remove the discs without killing him. Donald reassures him that something like this will never happen again. Mark asks for some time with Duvall and explains how he feels sorry for what happened to his family. He claims he remembers them now and will work on making right with them. But Duvall rejects his apology and vows to one day escape from that place and find him to finish it once and for all. That night, Mark sits on the roof, speechless, when Eve shows up to comfort him. She just sat beside him, and they embraced, while a mysterious surveillance orb watched them from afar. Thank you so much for watching the whole video. Please be sure to check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you soon.